Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh man, has the energy shifted, friends. People of all different kinds know exactly what's coming, and that's a massive red tidal wave, as we've been saying. But the sentence just earlier when I said people of all different kinds can now see it, it's no longer right-wing independent analysts who are looking at the full picture, who understand all of the different factors in the BS polling data. It's now everyone, whether right, left, citizen, politician, everybody now sees this red wave coming, and they're starting to say it publicly, and of course the left is losing its mind. Folks, this red wave continues to expand. I'm going to show you a bunch of viral clips that are bouncing all over Twitter right now. And then I'm just gonna keep hitting you with more good news. Cause guess what? These races keep shifting to the Republican column. You'd think at this point that I would be done with these videos, but no, there's a whole lot of news, a whole lot of races that are shifting, and some of them are incredibly surprising and we might be seeing historic flips. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with our pal, Joe Rogan, with this viral clip that has already amassed millions of views. And well, let's just say, leftoids are losing their minds over this clip. Take a look at this.
The red wave that's coming is going to be like the elevator doors opening up in The Shining. That's what I think. I think people are just like, what the f*** are you saying? They're making Republicans.
I don't know how they're doing it. I had a family member who's a boomer and a diehard liberal, and they told me when I was home this summer that they would vote for DeSantis, and I'm like, how did you lose this person?
Yeah.
How did you lose this person? This is a like, go to the ballot and vote blue no matter what, and you've lost even the boomers.
It's not just us saying it, friends. Joe Rogan's now saying it too, and even his guest. Not only is he predicting a massive historic red wave, which he thinks is going to be bigger than expected, but his interview guest is even slamming Democrats as she tells us her anecdote of a family member who's a vote blue no matter who Democrat turned Ron DeSantis supporter. Could you imagine being a Trump derangement syndrome leftoid, a vote blue no matter who blue anon Twitter keyboard warrior who literally thinks that democracy is on the ballot, that this election is about combating an existential threat? Could you imagine being that unhinged? And every time you turn on the TV or surf the web online, these clips keep popping up.
The red wave that's coming is going to be like the elevator doors opening up in The Shining.
But of course, we know that leftoids never leave their little Reddit bubbles, so they're probably not even getting this news, right? Leftoids aren't watching Joe Rogan. They don't get Joe Rogan in their Twitter feeds. They're only exclusively following leftist accounts, right? Well, not exactly. One thing that all these blue anon leftoids have in common is MSNBC brain. It's a serious epidemic. Well, here they are turning on MSNBC to see this.
We talk about theories and then you see a woman who's raising 4 kids on $400 a week, and you go, nothing else matters to her. There's no argument other than guess what? We're going to figure out a way to make bread more affordable to you. I mean, there's just, when it's about survival, when it's about these issues that just, they can't live. Now, you can scare them and say it could get worse. They could take your health care away. I mean, that's a strategy to go. But, if she is representative of a big part of the populace, and she is, and now let's even factor in people who've seen their IRAs, not a woman like that necessarily, but who've seen their IRAs go down by 20-25%. It's really tough, and I've come on the show and talked a lot about that. You got to scare people and make it about the Republicans that are crazy people. But even with the pending crazy, when you can't afford to buy the stuff that you were able to buy a year or 2 or 3 years ago, it's tough sledding. I hate to be negative Minnie over here. I don't even know what the hell that means. But I am really scared about a bloodbath 10 days from now.
This MSNBC polling analyst is, quote, really scared of a bloodbath during the midterm elections. I mean, you could probably hear the screeching going on in California on the other side of the coast in Florida. These leftoids must be losing their minds. And speaking of California, it's not just MSNBC that's filling these leftoids in about the current Democrat election meltdown. It's also California's governor, Gavin Newsom.
And I was just out in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I interviewed California's Governor, Gavin Newsom. He was there trying to help out the Democratic governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, win re-election. That is clear evidence that Democrats feel they have to be in places that they didn't think they'd have to be 5 weeks ago in order to defend a governor like that. I asked Gavin Newsom, I said, how many seats in California on the House side could Democrats lose? He said, there are 4 races that are competitive now that were not competitive 5 weeks ago. Wow. That indicates a shift in momentum. And I said, does it feel like a red wave? Gavin Newsom's words, it does.
Wow.
They know it's happening, folks. From Joe Rogan to MSNBC to California Governor Gavin Newsom to regular people having a conversation at the bar, families discussing politics at the dinner table, the prevailing sentiment here is that Democrats have completely lost control and that the potential of them holding on even slightly is pretty much non-existent at this point. It seems as though it's over. And just when you thought that it couldn't get any worse for the Democrats because it's been pretty bad, well, it continues to get even worse. I just showed you guys this graphic the other day, I think maybe 4 or 5 days ago, definitely less than a week ago, where we were seeing 225 seats safe Republican and 35 toss-ups. Most of those toss-ups leaning Republican. Well, already, in, as I stated, less than a week, it's shifted. There's now 228 safe Republican seats and 33 toss-ups. 5 out of the 6 races that have shifted towards the GOP. And almost every single race in toss-up territory is Democrat controlled and likely to swing Republican. This whole thing, folks, is swinging. But of course, that's just the House. It's been a given basically for a while here. The Senate keeps on shifting as well. We've been talking a whole lot about these high-profile races across the nation. One race, however, that I've been a little bit hesitant to cover as being a potential Republican flip has been the Senate race in the state of New Hampshire. Well, the most recent poll that we have here from St. Alsam is now showing a Dawn Bolduc lead of 1 percentage point over Democrat incumbent Maggie Hassan. This is huge. The video I recorded before this might have just sealed the deal for Blake Masters. As the Libertarian candidate drops out of the race and endorses Masters, that's a possible Senate seat. Herschel Walker takes the lead, that's another. Adam Laxalt's likely to run away with it in the state of Nevada, again defeating a Democrat incumbent. John Fetterman's campaign is in the gutter right now in Pennsylvania, as Dr. Oz is also expected to win. And then on top of that, Dawn Bolduc is now trending towards a victory in New Hampshire. Republicans might win 54 seats in the Senate, and I have maintained the same stance over months. People have said, no, of course not, Republicans probably aren't going to win the Senate, but are going to win the House. I've been saying for months, I think the Republicans are going to win 51 seats easy, and I think they could win all the way up to 54. Well, folks, it might actually be happening. And speaking of bad news for Democrats, we have bad news for Democrats in Pennsylvania, as John Fetterman's hometown newspaper just endorsed Dr. Oz in the Pennsylvania Senate race. John Fetterman's hometown newspaper, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, has endorsed Republican Dr. Oz in the Pennsylvania Senate race. Newspaper endorsements rarely count for much, unless they make a surprising choice that makes people take notice. This is one of those cases. From the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, editorial, better bet, despite turbulent Senate race, Oz is better prepared to lead. Despite deep ideological differences between Mehmet Oz, a right-leaning Republican, and John Fetterman, a left-leaning Democrat, the U.S. Senate campaign in Pennsylvania has mostly skirted the issues. It has been a slugfest marked by relentless attacks and counterattacks that generated more heat than light. During Tuesday's debate, after hundreds of thousands of votes had already been cast, voters finally learned something about where the candidates stood. They learned, among other things, that Mr. Oz opposes federal intervention in abortion rights, and Mr. Fetterman supports the broader constitutional guarantees provided by the overturned Roe v. Wade decision. They learned Mr. Fetterman supports a federally mandated $15 minimum wage, and Mr. Oz wants market forces to raise wages. They learned both candidates support fracking. They also learned that both men are politicians, as they ducked and dodged questions about why they changed their minds on fracking. Neither candidate has experience as a U.S. senator. Given the lack of substance during the campaign, many voters will have to make a leap of faith on November 8th. We believe Mr. Oz is a better bet for Pennsylvania. Here's the most brutal part. Mr. Fetterman's life experience and maturity are also concerns. He has lived off of his family's money for much of his life. That has allowed him to do some good things, including mentoring disadvantaged young people and working to improve community policing and economic development in Braddock. That work, along with his 6'8" frame, shaved head, and tattoos, attracted national media attention. Still, Mr. Fetterman, despite his hoodies and shorts, has little experience in holding real jobs or facing the problems of working people. That is a dagger in the Fetterman campaign. And honestly, the entire Democrat campaign apparatus is in total freefall. They've been trying to stop the bleeding, as I mentioned in my previous video, they've been trying, but the cut is too deep. The entire Democrat machine is at the behest of gravity and is plummeting down at an accelerating rate, and it's about to hit the hard concrete and shatter into a million pieces. Every single key Democrat race has gone to complete crap for them. They have made no gains, there are no surprises, it's just Democrats tanking across the board in the most important races. I can see it, MSNBC hacks can see it, Joe Rogan can see it, Joe Rogan's guests can see it, you can see it, your family members probably see it. It seems as though everyone can see it. The Democrats are in free fall. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.